Hello, my friends. I would like to address a lot of questions I've seen on my YouTube channel here, but also ones I get often in coaching, and just kind of answer them all at once because there's a common theme of, but how do I know that I'm making progress, and how do I know that it's going to end, and how do I know I'm going to get the outcome that I want? And in terms of answering like a lot of those questions are, how did you know? And did you know you were responding to your limbic system appropriately? And did you know that it was working? Could you tell you were making progress? Especially because I've shared several times I had 4 relapses. My journey was long, not the perfect storm afterwards. It's been a lot, and I did not know. But I also wasn't looking at it that way. And that's what I want to share, because I never really looked at it that way. I didn't see it the way that the point of view that all these questions are coming from is one I wasn't in. And one thing I learned or understood about this process, because I focused on the science of it largely, was that it wasn't about outcomes. That it wasn't like I couldn't make my brain give me I couldn't make my brain calm down. I couldn't make my symptoms shift. I couldn't force myself into parasympathetic. Again, it's like, if you think about when someone's upset and you're just like, calm down, like it doesn't work. You can't, feel safe now. Like that doesn't work. You can't create safety or force your brain to feel okay just by like muscling it. Like that doesn't work. So one thing I knew from the process was that it was entirely about focusing on how I was responding and what I had agency over, what I could focus on and what I could do. It wasn't about what my brain was doing. That recovery had and progress had nothing to do with what my limbic system was doing, because it was always going to be sending all these crazy signals all the time and all over the place, all kinds of different ones over time. Physical symptoms, mental symptoms, emotional symptoms, psychological symptoms, all kinds of crazy stuff, and all over the board. And it would change from here to here, and the main expression would change from physical to mental, blah, blah, blah. And, the relapses and all of that. But I wasn't looking for progress in outcomes. I was looking for, okay, in this moment, how can I get my brain out of this loop and into a positive pathway? How can I get my attention engaged in a pathway that's going in a straight line where I'm focused on something positive and I'm moving my brain, grooving it down a positive pathway? Am I doing that, or am I in a loop? That was it. And sometimes it's like you're grooving the positive pathway and there's still a storm kind of happening around it. There's still a lot of symptoms, a lot of noise, a lot of thoughts, but I could still tell, like I kept pulling myself out of them and trying to get back on the track of a positive focus. And every time my brain would hijack me, I would just do it again. And over time I realized, like, it's the action of redirecting that's where you're building your executive function. This is about brain function, people. It's not about symptoms. I know your brain is going to tell you the opposites over and over every day, all day long. And it takes a lot of reframing of your symptoms as being literally insignificant and meaning nothing, from feeling like when they're there, the world has ended. Like that's a big jump. It takes a lot of reframing for your brain to be able to get there so that you can focus on something else. So for me, it was more learning about the process of, okay, what can I do? How can I focus on the step in front of me instead of trying to look at how many steps it's going to take to get there, and focus on the reality that your brain's like a computer. It's going to output what you input. That is how it works. That period. That's it. You put a message or a program or a focus or an intention. You do something with your brain enough times, it's like you're entering a software program. And you're the one writing it and you're the one entering it. And your brain is still shooting out all this stuff you don't want from the limbic activation. But if you keep inputting this new information, eventually you're going to get these healthy patterns out. You're going to get regulation. You're going to get the yawning and the tummy gurgling, and you're going to get the relaxation, and you're going to get the symptoms starting to dissipate, and you're going to get the clarity and the sleep and the foods coming in and the physical energy coming up and the physical capacity and the mental capacity and the cognitive function is all going to come in once your limbic system's calmer. But in the process of getting there, sometimes you have to input that information. You need to keep redirecting your attention and learning the skill of that, and continuously reframing everything so that you can actually act on the brain science. Because most of the biggest mistake I see people make is they forget that we're wiring the brain and they think that we're trying to fix symptoms. because the limbic system is always making everything about symptoms. That's the biggest mistake I see across the board, hands down. Everybody forgets that they're supposed to be rewiring their brain instead of just making symptoms go away. We're not trying to make symptoms go away. We're trying to rewire the brain. That's it. Symptoms will take care of themselves when you let them go. So focus on rewiring your brain. But when you do that and you make just the skills of emotionally focused attention, redirection, recognizing false messages, reframing them, giving a different meaning to the same experience and responding differently, that's what progress looks like. Progress is always and only about what you are doing. It has nothing to do with what your limbic system is doing. It has nothing to do with your symptoms or your thoughts. It has everything to do and only to do with how you respond.